is how to make habits stick. How many of you have a New Year's resolution, a New Year's goal, health and fitness related or business related, that you're wanting to achieve this year? Anybody? A few hands. Okay, the rest of you just go ahead and check out tune out. This doesn't, the next 10 minutes does not apply to you. Whenever you are making those new habits stick, there are steps that you can take to make it much easier, to make it a lifelong habit. And when I'm talking about habits, I'm talking, and I'm going to be using health and wellness because that's my hat, that's my field. But if you don't have any health and wellness goals this year, apply it to whatever your goals are. When I'm talking habits, I'm not talking about something as simple as I'm going to drink a cup of water when I get up in the morning. That's just a small action. I'm talking about more of a lifestyle change, something that is a bigger picture, that to do this, it's affecting some dominoes in the rest of your life. Does that make sense? Yes. All right. So, quick story. Had a client years ago who she decided she wanted to become an exerciser. She wanted to exercise on a regular basis. She'd been one of those on again, off again exercisers. You may have heard of people who, try and fail at an exercise program. She was one of those. And she said, I really want it to stick this time. What can I do? So I worked with her, gave her several different steps to put in place. One of those was wrapping her mind around actually how long it takes to make a lifestyle change. And she put those things in place. And you've heard this story. She came to the gym on a Monday afternoon, but here was the kicker. She'd been on a business trip for 2 weeks. Have you ever been building a habit and then you're out of your element for 2 weeks, and when you come back, what habit? What in the world are we talking about over here? So, and it's 6 months or a year before you're back into, well, that had always been her routine. So she goes on this business trip for 2 weeks. Everything is thrown out of whack in her life. She comes back on that Sunday afternoon. She packs her work bag for the next day. She packs her lunch for the next day. She packs her gym clothes for the next day. She's in the gym that afternoon, in the middle of her workout, when she realizes, I'm at the gym. How did this happen? Because she didn't have, Post-it notes everywhere reminding her to do it. It just was part of who she was. She had gone, I'm going to use my name, she had gone from Sheri who exercises to Sheri the exerciser. She had made that identity shift. And that's one of the points that's on this top part of the sheet for you is when you are looking at making something stick for the long term, you have to move from action to identity, because we will fight to line up with our identity. Whenever you see yourself one way, you are going to subconsciously work and overcome obstacles to live up to how you see yourself. So she had made that shift. The question is, and you can't answer it because I know you've heard this, how long does it take to get to that new identity shift where it's not just a simple habit like drinking a glass of water, but this is who I am? Is it 21 days? 21 days?
I was going to say 21 days.
21 days. Anybody else?
3 months.
3 months. We're getting closer.
62 days.
6 months. 6 months. And so on one hand, you're going, oh, that's so daunting. Forget it. I'm not even going to try. But the flip side is, you mentioned the 21 days. There are changes that happen in the brain at 21 days. So it begins to feel easier. So on that journey at 21 days, at 62 days, at 66 days, Keller Williams uses 66 days. At 3 months, all along the way, it gets easier and easier. But to where you can just totally take your hands off of it and go, I got this, this is who I am, I don't have to use Post-it notes, I don't have to use 6 months. So the support that you put in place, and we're going to be talking about one of those supports today, have these in place for 6 months, and then you can forget it and go on. Also, because it gets easier and easier, you can layer habits. You can say, all right, for this week I'm going to focus on eating more vegetables. For this week I'm going to focus on walking. You can layer them, but to change a lifestyle, have support in place for 6 months. Outcome versus identity. An outcome, somebody give me an example of an outcome.
You get skinny.
You get skinny, okay? Somebody give me an example of an activity goal.
I go to the gym.
Huh?
Walk every day.
That you walk every day. Okay, what was it you said?
Run a marathon.
Run a marathon, okay? So which of those do you have direct control over? Yeah, the activity goal. So you want to treat outcome goals and activity goals differently. An outcome goal, that's going to be your carrot, cheer yourself on with that. You know, that's going to be on your vision board. But the activity goal, that's the one you're holding yourself accountable to. If it's sales related, it's how many phone calls did I make today? But how many new clients did I get? All right, that's an outcome goal. I'm going to celebrate it, but I'm not going to hold my feet to the fire or have my accountability partner hold my feet to the fire on that. Let's shift gears now and talk about a micro commitment. This is one of the 7 or 8 steps you really need to have in place to support for 6 months. A micro commitment is something you know you can keep no matter what. And when I mean no matter what, I mean no matter what. A story of where I learned about this was actually from a client over 20 years ago. All the research supports this now, but I'm like, y'all could have just listened to my client and known this. We were I was working at a fitness center at Vanderbilt at the time. And she was a client. She came in one day and was sitting in the lobby knitting. And I joked with her and I said, you know, the exercise equipment's upstairs. What are you doing down here? And she goes, I'm exhausted. She just looked at me haggard, y'all, and she went, I'm spent. I got nothing today. But it's my day to be here, so I'm here. And I looked at her and I said, honey, we need to talk because you were onto something. And she had intuitively known to make a micro commitment so that on the days that she did not feel like exercising, fine, I don't have to exercise. I'm just going to physically be in the building so that the days I do feel like it, I'm in the habit of going versus just going home. And I've told this I've worked with this with clients for years now, and it makes such a huge difference. So that's why it was the point that I wanted to make sure that you all had a hold of today. So take a moment and think about whatever your goal is. What is a micro commitment for that? That you know that for the next 6 months, no matter what, you can do it. If walking from home is your goal, maybe putting on your walking shoes and opening the front door is your micro commitment. You don't have to go walk. You just have to put on your walking shoes and open the front door. If it's I want to eat more vegetables, don't have to eat them. I just have to put them in the grocery cart. If I'm going to drink more water, I don't have to drink it. I just have to have it on my desk. What is something you know you can keep no matter what? Take a second and write that down. Give you about 10 more seconds on that. Take a couple of examples. Who is willing to share their goal and share their micro commitment? I will call on you. Yeah.
So mine is to touch my business every day.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, because you know you can do that. No matter what, you can do that. Anybody else?
Well, my goal is to touch more people, and I'm going to do 10 cold calls a day.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, because you have direct control over that. It's an activity goal, but it's also something that forms in your mind the identity of I am someone who is proactive in my business. Very good. Well, my contact info is at the bottom. So if you have any follow-up questions on this, please feel free to reach out. Thank you all so much and enjoy lunch.
Awesome.